Gauranga. What happened? Jayarata Matova Kunja Bihari Radha Matava Kunjam Bihari Gopi Janna Balaba Girivaradari Gopi Janna Balaba Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamuna Tirthavanachari Jamuna Tirthavanachari Jaya Radha Matava Kunja Bihari Hey Radha Matava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Balaba Girivaradari Jaya Gopi Janna Balaba Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajanaranjana Jamuna Tirthavanachari Jamuna Tirthavanachari Jaya Radha Matava Kunja Bihari Hey Radha Matava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad, Paramahams, Paragraj, ISKCON Ashtatara Sata Shishimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta, Swami Śrīmad Prabhupada ki, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Grantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki, Jai Go Premanandi. All glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Narayanam namaskritya naram cheva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 14, chapter entitled Ideal Family Life, text number 1. Shri Yudhishthira Vacha Grihasta etam padaswim Vitina yena chanjasha Yaya deva rishe bruhi Madrisho grihamudadi Shri Yudhishthira Vacha Grihasta etam padavim Vitina yena chanjasa Yaya deva rishe bruhi Madrisho griha muddadi Shri Yudhishthira Vacha Grihasta etam padavim Vitina yena chanjasa Yaya deva rishe bruhi Madrisho griha muddhadi Shri Yudhishthira Vacha. Yudhishthira Maharaj said, Grihasta, a person living with his family. Etam, this, the process mentioned in the previous chapter. Padavim, position of liberation. Vidhina, according to the instructions of Vedic scripture. Yena, by which. Cha, also. Anjasa, easily. Yayat, may get. Devarishe, a great sage among the demigods. Bruhi, kindly explain. Madrisha, such as me. Griha Muta, D, completely ignorant of the goal of life. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīmad Prabhupada. Maharaj Yudhishthira inquired from Narad Muni, O my Lord, O great sage, kindly explain how we, who are staying at home without knowledge of the goal of life, may also easily attain liberation, according to the instruction of the Vedas. Translation responsibly. Maharaj Yudhishthira inquired from Narada Muni, O my Lord, O great sage, kindly explain how we, who are staying at home without knowledge of the goal of life, may also easily attain liberation, according to the instructions of the Vedas. Purport. In the previous chapter, the great sage Narada has explained how a brahmachari, a vanaprastha, and a sannyasi should act. He first explained the dealings of a brahmachari, vanaprastha, and sannyasi because these three ashrams, or statuses of life, are extremely important for fulfillment of the goal of life. One should note that in the brahmachari ashram, vanaprastha ashram, and sannyas ashram, there is no scope for sex life, whereas sex is allowed in grihastha life under regulations. Narad Muni, therefore, first described brahmacharya, vanaprastha, and sannyas because he wanted to stress that sex is not at all necessary. Although one who absolutely requires it is allowed to enter grihastha life or householder life, which is also regulated by the Shastras and Guru. Yudhishthira Maharaj could understand all this. Therefore, as a grihastha, he presented himself as Griha Mutadi, one who is completely ignorant of the goal of life. A person who remains a householder in family life is certainly ignorant of life's goal. He is not very much advanced in intelligence. As soon as possible, one should give up his so-called comfortable life at home and prepare to undergo austerity or tapasya. Tapo divyam putraka. According to the instructions given by Rishabdev to his sons, we should not create a so-called comfortable situation, but must prepare to undergo austerity. This is how a human being should actually live to fulfill life's ultimate goal. Amagyan timadandasya gyananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam jena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swa Bedantikam Vansha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the chapter is called Ideal Family Life. This is Narad Muni's description and instructions on Varnashram Dharma. So it's famous section. If you look at Bhagavatam, all the way through, most of the cantos, maybe all the cantos if we analyze it, Narada is the prominent instructor in many of the sections. In other words, he's the guru of some of the most prominent personalities within the Bhagavatam itself. So he's Yudhishthira's guru, he's Dhruva Maharaja's guru. Who else? Mrigari? Yeah, that's not in the Bhagavatam, but... Who? Yep, that's good. Who else? Prahlad Maharaj, yeah. So, I mean, he's guru of everyone. So prominent. And even in ISKCON, there are pastimes of Narada. Prabhupada said on several occasions, he said, did you see Narada? Did you see him? He was there in the class listening to Prabhupada. Narada would come and listen. And then if you go to Soho Street, then there are two little asanas next to the deities. And Prabhupada said, do you remember who it is who comes? Is it Narada and Shiva? Yeah, Narada and Shiva come to listen to the class. So his pastimes are still there. One time actually he was there Prabhupada was giving class, and Prabhupada said, did you see Narada? And the devotees said, well, no, we did not see. And they said to Prabhupada, what was he doing? Prabhupada said, he was laughing. And they said, why was he laughing? And he said, because during the kirtan, when you're doing kirtan, Narada said, they are such Kali Yuga devotees. Kali Yuga devotees have their own style and fashion and way of doing things compared to the previous yugas, because there's a lot more rajas and tamas intermixed with the practices in the Kali Yuga. So Narada is still there. And if you look in the Bhagavatam, he's all through Bhagavatam. He's the prominent guru within the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And as I said, then even in Prabhupada's pastimes in ISKCON, he's still manifesting. He's still prevalent. So he is one of the 12 Mahajanas, one of the 12 great authorities who are mentioned. And he's the guru of many of the others. So he's considered to be such a prominent personality. He's also very famous in India. They have sayings like, you are acting like a Narad Muni. Yeah, if someone's a little bit sneaky, is it? Is it like that? I've heard sometimes they say something like that. If someone's being a little bit sneaky, they say he's got a reputation, amongst Hindu people sometimes being like a little bit sneaky, and he's actually not like that. That's not because they're misunderstanding his personality. Sometimes he does do things. He acts in particular ways. Like he said to Kamsa, what did he say to Kamsa? Yeah, that the child is going to destroy you. And the prophecy was the 8th child. So Narada came to Kamsa and he said, so I heard the 8th child is going to destroy you. And then Kamsa said, yes, we're waiting for the 8th child. He said, yes, but it depends which way you count. If you go backwards, then number 1 is number 8. And if you go forwards, then number 8 is number 8. So then he confused Kamsa, and then Kamsa started killing all their kids because he didn't know. He was thinking, he had him completely disturbed because he wanted to speed up Krishna's descent. So sometimes it's hard to understand these personalities. It is said like that. We can't always understand the mind of the great person, the very advanced transcendental. It's difficult to understand. So Narada here, these are famous instructions, famous teachings he's giving to Yudhishthira about Varnashram Dharma. Now, in the previous chapter, we've heard about sannyas, vanaprasth, and brahmachari, life. And now we're hearing about grihastha life. And Prabhupada points out in the purport, what is the difference between that ashram and the other three ashrams? Right? The difference is that one is allowed to have sex life, right, in a regulated way, and the others are not. They're forbidden to engage in sex life. So basically, it's interesting. It's the demarcation for everything. The whole world is based on sex life. Right? Everything is based on sex life. It is the active, Prabhupada actually says, I think it's in the first purport actually, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, Verse 1, Prabhupada says, I think he says it's the active principle in the material creation. Right? Everything is just based on sex life. Everything is based. Freud, who is one of the most prominent psychologists in the modern era, he says it. He said everything is based on sex life. If you analyze why everyone does everything. One time Prabhupada was stuck in a traffic jam. I think it was in Australia actually. Right? He was stuck in it, and Prabhupada, none of us like being stuck in traffic jams. And Prabhupada sighed. He went, simply sex life. Right? Everything is sex life. Right? Traffic jams are sex life. Why is everyone stuck in the traffic jam? I will undergo the austerity of being in this traffic jam as long as there is sex life at the end of the road. Right? Everything is based upon it. It runs the entire material energy. Even one time Prabhupada walked into the Krishna Balaram Mandir. This is in the very beginning, before it was busy. Now it's very busy. And Prabhupada walked back in there, and he walked in, and you know, if you go in the front entrance on the left and the right, there are two rooms in the corners. They've changed the construction now. I'm not sure if it's like that now, but the two rooms are there. So Prabhupada went in and he sat in one of the rooms in the middle. There was an empty chair, and Prabhupada walked in and he sat in the chair. And then the devotees, there's several devotees, Dhananjaya Prabhu and a few other devotees, they were with Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said, illicit sex. Well, the devotees like, what's Prabhupada talking about? And then devotees were looking. And then Prabhupada, with his cane, he pointed to the roof, and they looked up. And there were some pigeons. And Prabhupada said, illicit sex in the temple. Get them out. In other words, don't let the pigeons live in the temple. You know, they can live outside. They can do their thing outside. But inside the temple, then everything must be sacred. So this is what keeps the world going. It is sex life. Now, why is that? Because, it's explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the Adi Ras comes from Radha and Krishna, the original sex life. But that is pure. That is different. Kaviraj Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, the calm or the lust of the gopis and Radha towards Krishna and vice versa, it is like gold which has been purified in 1,000 fires. It is pure. It's nothing like the Adi Ras, the mundane Ras within this material world. Right? It is a totally different thing. The rasa that is there in that spiritual world, that spiritual dimension, that is completely pure. It has no tinge, because in Chaitanya Charitamrita it says the definition of calm is atmendriya priti. Atma indriya priti. Indriya, atma, means my senses, to satisfy my senses. That is the definition of calm, lust. Right? That's what it means. That's what sex life is in the material. It's all about our senses, not about the other person. Sometimes, you know, people say, oh, I love you and I want to make you happy and I want to give you pleasure. No, it's not. You just want to satisfy your senses. That's all it is. Atma indriya priti. That's the definition of calm. Krishnendriya priti, it says in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna indriya priti, Prema, the definition of prem, love for Krishna, which is what the gopis and Krishna exchange, it is prema. It is to give pleasure to Krishna's senses. Right? That is the difference. There is no tinge of material lust within the activities of the pure devotees. And in Krishna himself, Krishna doesn't have any material lust. It's a pure exchange, which is there. Even it describes in Krishna Bhavanamrita and Govinda Lilamrita, these esoteric scriptures, it says that in the morning Srimati Radharani looks at herself in the mirror, and her manjaris, her attendants, are dressing her and cleansing her and adorning her for when she meets Krishna. And she looks in the mirror and she thinks, when she sees herself, she says, there is no one more beautiful in the creation. But she's not thinking this in an egotistical way. When we look in the mirror, we might think something similar. We might look in the mirror and think, oh, there's no one more beautiful on the earth. We might think that. Or we might look at ourselves and think, I wish I was so beautiful. Whatever you might think. Our mind goes through all sorts of crazy psychological states, due to the false ego. But Radharani thinks this, but she is thinking, okay, I am the most beautiful person, but my beauty is simply existing for the pleasure of Krishna, to give pleasure to Krishna's senses. That is prema. Right? So there's nothing material about it. So we have to understand this point. It's very important. That's why we don't speak about these things publicly. You don't speak about Radha and Krishna's intimate leelas publicly. Prabhupada was staying at one life member's house in India, maybe in Mumbai, or no, it was somewhere else, I think. And then after Mangalati, the Grihastha couple, they were a little elderly, they came to Prabhupada and they said, Swamiji, we want to hear Rasa Leela. Straight after Mangalati. And Prabhupada said, I'm not qualified to speak on Rasa Leela. And they, sometimes Indian people are a little insistent. I don't know if you've experienced this, but sometimes they're a little insistent. Oh, Swamiji, please. No. Please, oh, Swamiji, please. Prabhupada said, you may be qualified to hear it, but I am not qualified to speak it. No, that's why we don't speak it publicly, the intimate pastimes of Radha and Krishna and the gopis. Because people will misconstrue it. Even when Shukadev Goswami spoke to Maharaj Parikshit, he noticed, it mentions in the commentaries, in the Bhagavatam, he noticed some of the sages, they were smiling when he began the Rasa Panchajaya, when he began the pastimes of the Rasa Leela in the 10th canto, when he began to say, even some of the sages were misconstruing what was going on. They began to smile in a mundane way. Shukadev was looking. And he thought, okay, I will not reveal everything. I will not say everything because they're not qualified to hear it. That was Naimisharanya. On the bank of the Jamuna when Parikshit was speaking to Shukadev. These are very, essays. So we don't just speak it openly like that. Mahaprabhu did not do it. He would speak about it in the Gambhira. Right? Prabhupada actually said, one time he said, we do not boycott the gopis. There's no boycott. We can speak about the gopis and Krishna and Radha and Krishna, that's okay. But you do it behind closed doors with devotees who are qualified to hear it, who are following the regulative principles, who are sufficiently cleansed. Because it says, the final, if you go to that Rasa Panchajaya chapter, the final verse says, by hearing these pastimes, it will cleanse the lust from your heart. I remember Jagatarini Mataji said at one of the retreats years ago, she said, it is the only thing that can completely remove the lust in our heart is to hear the pastime of Krishna and the gopis. But you have to be qualified to hear it. Now, Bhaktivedanta Thakur actually says, if you hear the pastimes of Krishna with the gopis, but you are not qualified the rasa will turn into virasa. And actually your lust will increase. Right? When you hear those pastimes, your lust should be decreasing. That means you're qualified. But if it's increasing, that means you're not qualified. You should stop hearing. You should go back to the first canto of the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada said we should study the first and second canto of the Bhagavatam until we are free from the desire for illicit sex. So that means maybe we have to stay there for a long time. The lotus feet, the first and second canto. So, now we're hearing about the various ashrams. Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. So what's the demarcation? One is allowed to have regulated sex life, the other three are not. When Prabhupada began the movement back in 1966 in 26 2nd Avenue, he was explaining this principle. Once a month for Grihasthas, they can have sex life to beget children. After chanting 50 rounds, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And then, I think it was Hayagriva Prabhu, one of Prabhupada's early disciples. Prabhupada said once a month, to beget Krishna conscious children. And then Hayagriva Prabhu said, then what's the point of even having it if it's only once a month? Oh, and then Prabhupada said, exactly. They said, what is the point if it's only one? Then Prabhupada said, exactly, that is the point. Right? As time goes by, we're meant to lose the desire completely. And you should be feeling this in your own Krishna consciousness. The lust, the desire for sex life, it should be decreasing over time. If it's increasing, that means there's something wrong with the application of the process. Because it should be decreasing. We should be feeling year after year that desire is becoming less. That should be the feeling that devotees are getting. So, one ashram is allowed to have some sex life, but the other three, they are not allowed to have sex life. Each of the ashrams gets purified in a different way. We were discussing this last night also. The religious principle for the brahmacharis, what is the religious principle? Study, yeah. Yeah, we call it vidya. Vidya means cultivating knowledge. That is the religious principle for the brahmachari ashram. Prabhupada said brahmachari ashram is best. Right? It is the best ashram. There's no better ashram than brahmachari ashram. Brahmacharis have 3 bags. That's it. Right? Sleeping bag, japa bag, book bag. That's it. That's your life. Prabhupada said the brahmachari should be so tired from serving Krishna all day that when he puts his head on the pillow, he falls asleep immediately. Because he just fully dedicates his life. He only has 3 bags, that's it. That's very simple. It's the best life. And there's not so much social pressure. A sannyasi has a lot of social pressure. Chaitanya Charitamrita says, just like if you have a white cloth and there's one little black spot, everyone says, oh, look at the black spot. So sannyas is like that. Right? Oh, did you see Maharaj had 2 ladus? I saw. Maharaj had 2 ladus. Like that. Even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he ate a lot of prasadam because devotees cook so much prasadam with love. Right? And then he got criticized. Oh, why is the sannyasi eating so much? Mahaprabhu said, okay, tomorrow, give me half as much. And we were reading recently that when he went to Founder-Acharya's house and they cooked a big feast, Mahaprabhu just said, give me some rice and boiled vegetables. Because the renunciate should eat simply, because it keeps the senses peaceful. When you eat too much rich food, if you're not burning it off with activity, then you will become agitated, the senses will become agitated. So the renunciate should eat very simple, prasadam in general. Prabhupada said once a week you can have a feast. Once a week you can eat whatever you want, but the rest of the time you have to control your senses. It's very difficult actually in the Melbourne temple. It is. It's truly difficult to do it. That Leela Gupta, he's an Ayurvedic Kaviraj from Vrindavan. His father treated Prabhupada, actually, Narottama. He was actually Prabhupada's Kaviraj. He came here to the Melbourne temple. He said, it's very hard to control your senses. He actually said that.
What do you think about having a dress code in this area?
I will talk about that later. I'll talk about it later. But he said that very hard to control the senses, right? This is opulent prasad. So actually the renunciate should eat simply, right? Because it's easy to control the senses. And we feel that sometimes, when you eat too much rich prasadam, you feel like the senses and the mind, they become agitated. So we have to learn to control. So for the brahmacharis, they practice celibacy. They do not associate with women unnecessarily, right? Only for service, and they study, and that's the opulence of the brahmacharya ashram, right? You don't have grihastha responsibilities. You have time to study, right? And sometimes even that becomes hard because there's so much service. It's hard to study. But actually, that's the situation. No, the brahmachari should study as much as possible. The second ashram is the grihastha ashram. And what is the religious principle for the grihastha? Yeah, dana. Yeah, he should give charity. Right, that'll be emphasized a lot in this chapter. If you look at grihastha dharma, that's the way a grihastha becomes purified, because grihastha life requires a lot of money. Right, in 2024 in Melbourne, it requires the price of living is going up and up and up. Even just to live a basic life, you need quite a lot of money. Right, you've got to work like hard. Just to feed the kids, put them in school and everything, and playing cricket on the weekends. The kids are in the cricket teams. That costs a lot of money. Everything costs a lot of money. So the grihastha, he has to earn money, but the nature of money is that you become very attached to it, right? Jamma, Aishwarya, Shuta, Shribhya, right? Queen Kunti says, right? These four material things, they're distractions for spiritual life if they're not used in Krishna's service. Jamma means a high birth. Aishwarya means wealth. Shruta means when you're learned, you have a good education. And Shribhya means your physical beauty. These four, if they're not used in Krishna's service, they can become a distraction to bhakti. So, of the four, the Acharya's comment, Aishwarya is the most intoxicating. If you get money, you become intoxicated. We all know it. Someone gives you $500, and then you're like, oh wow, wait a minute. Your bhav changes. Right? Suddenly it's like, oh wait, I've got $500. And your mind starts saying, oh, what can I do with it? I can get a watch. But what sort of watch will I get? Oh, I can get a good watch. And your mind starts going, do. I had to get a watch recently because my other one stopped working after more than 10 years. Stopped working, so I had to get another one. So you go in the shop, but then your mind starts playing tricks. Oh, I can get this one, or I can get that one. If I pay a little bit more, I can get that one, and this one, and your mind starts playing tricks. And I was very fortunate. Krishna blessed me because I was looking in the white, and I went around the corner, and there was one very good watch, but it was marked down like really cheap price. I don't know why. But then I said, okay, I'll have that one. Because it was cheap. Now I don't have to waste money on, because your mind starts playing tricks on you. Aishwarya. That's why money is very intoxicating. Parikshit Maharaj, he was wearing a golden crown, because he's Kshatriya. They wear crown. And it says in Kali Yuga, the personality of Kali hides in gold. Now, wherever there is gold, wherever gold is, it says in Bhagavatam, wherever gold is accumulated, that's where Kali manifests, like in the Crown Casino. That's where all the gold is. I mean, now it's not gold, it's just numbers on the computer, but you know, wherever that is accumulated, that's where Kali goes, and that's where the regulative principles are broken. So Parikshit Maharaj, he was wearing that golden crown, and then Kali influenced. So then when he came, and the Brahmana Shringi did something, when he came and then he put the snake on Shringi's father's neck, he would not have done that. The Acharyas comment that because the gold crown was there, Kali was influencing him, and because the influence of Kali, he became disturbed and he acted out of character. He disrespected the sage, and then Shringi gave the curse, and then he had 7 days to live. So this is the influence of the wealth of gold, of money. Therefore, it says for the grihastas, you have to give dan. Dan means charity. That's how you become purified as a grihasta. So then the question is, how much charity should I give? And the answer is, that is up to you. All right? In ISKCON, we don't have any numerical system. We don't say, 10% of your wage. I mean, if we want to be strict with what the Shastra says, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it means you have to give 50%, which means you can't even live. You know, you can't, then you couldn't live, you couldn't do it. So you have to give something. The point is, it's up to you how much you will give. So then the question is, how much should I give? And the answer is, you give it when it starts to hurt. Right? That's when you know you're giving enough. Because if you make $1,000 a week and you give $10 to the temple, you're not going to feel anything. But if you make $1,000 a week, you give $100 to the temple, you'll start feeling something. That means you're in the realm of the right amount to give. And if you give $1,000 a week and you give $500 to the temple, right, then your wife files for the divorce, then you know you're giving too much. Right? So you have to find that, that nice area, where it feels uncomfortable, right? But at the same time, it's not, you have to be practical. If you're not feeling anything, it's not enough. If you're feeling too much, right, then that's not right. If you're giving too much, then you'll feel it too much. So Prabhupada said we have to strike the balance between the two. Right? So that is the religious principle for the grihasta. And then for the vanaprastha, what is his religious principle? Tapa. Tapa means austerity. Sooner or later, you have to give up your attachment to family life. All right? Just like, do you know Robert De Niro? Do you know Robert De Niro? You don't personally know him? You don't know him personally? Okay, we can introduce you, don't worry. But you've heard of him, Robert De Niro? Like, I don't know, like in your India, then you'll have, Bollywood stars. So in Hollywood, he's like super famous, super. He just had a baby, he's 80 years old. Just had the baby. Right? It's like Ajamil. Ajamil was 83. Right? You don't have kids when you're 83. That's not. It means you're not living your life in the correct way, according to the Varnashram system. Varnashram doesn't mean, 80. When you're 80, you should be Vanaprastha at least. Right? So it doesn't mean you're still having kids. Right? That's not the system. So it means that as a Vanaprastha, you have to practice tapasya, which means voluntarily you have to start giving up your attachments. You're getting older now. You look in the mirror, the hair's going grey, or the teeth are becoming loose, right? Everything is beginning to fall apart, right? That's Krishna being very kind. He's saying, you're going to have to change location soon. Krishna is giving you an indication. So it means you don't just increase the attachments, you don't get another house and have more kids and everything. It means it's time to wind down. So tapasya means we have to give up our attachments voluntarily. So that's what Vanaprastha ashram is for. You go to the forest. Vanaprastha literally means simplifying things at that point. And then sannyas, what is the religious principle for the sannyasi? Yeah, it is satya. Satyam. Param satyam dhīmahi. The sannyasi, he preaches the absolute truth. The Bhagavatam, the Vaishnava sannyasis. Just like we were reading last night that Founder-Acharya met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, took him to his home, and then Mahaprabhu woke up. And he's a sannyasi, and at the time, Founder-Acharya is a Mayavadi. Om Namo Narayana. That's how he greeted Mahaprabhu. You are Narayan. I am also Narayan. It's nice to meet you. Like that. That's how the Mayavadis greet. And Mahaprabhu said, Krishna Matiya Astu. May your mind be on Krishna. Because that is and then he's a Vaishnava sannyasi. Krishna Matiya Astu. May your mind be on Krishna. So that is the principle. That's what the sannyasis teach us. Keep your mind on Krishna. Because in grihastha life, sometimes the mind goes other places. It's not always on Krishna. Does anyone here know what I'm talking about tonight? You can relate? Yeah, you can relate. We can all relate. Sometimes the mind is not on Krishna. So therefore, the sannyasi comes to remind us. That's why the sannyasi is the guru for all of the other varnas and the ashrams. Because they come. And when they come, we bow to them. Why do we bow? Because they have given up sex life. They've conquered it. Prabhupada says that's why we bow to the sannyasi. And he says to us, hey, wake up, Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago, Gaura Chandra Bole. Lord Chaitanya is calling you, wake up, wake up. So that is the sannyas dharma, param satyam, dhīmahi, to remind you of the absolute truth. Put your mind on Krishna. Your mind is on so many other things. Put your mind on Krishna. That's the sannyas dharma. So here in this section, the Varnashram section, Narad Muni is going to give a breakdown of all of the different ashramas. Right? And here we're going to hear in this chapter about Grihastha ashram. And there's a great emphasis on the Grihastha giving charity. If you go through the chapter, right? He's meant to distribute prasad. Prabhupada says, before you have your meal as a Grihastha, you have to go outside on Dank Street and you have to say, Prasadam, 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 3 times. Is anyone hungry? Come, eat now, eat now. Prabhupada said his father, every day, there was at least 3 or 4 guests every day in their home. Right? That is the Vedic culture, the Vaishnava culture. So there's a great emphasis on that in this chapter. Also, in this chapter, we're hearing about how the grihastha should earn his money. Radhanath Swami said something very nice a while ago. He said that the grihastha should earn with integrity and he should spend with compassion. Very nice instruction. So when you earn as a grihastha, it has to be with integrity. You can't do these sinful activities. Sometimes devotees, they tell us, I'm working for this company, the company's not good. And we advise them, Prabhu, maybe look for another job. Because you're karmically implicated. Actually, Prabhupada said his instruction with the grihasthas was to open restaurants and distribute prasadam. Prasadam distribution. He said grihasthas should make a living from prasadam distribution. So if they all come together and work together, several devotees, you can distribute prasad. So much opportunity is there to do it. So earn with integrity and then spend with compassion. So give your money to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. That's where I give my donations. I'm a grihastha, I donate. So I give to the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. The Hare Krishnas are good people. I highly recommend you can donate. They're nice people. They're good. So you can give donations. ISKCON has so many projects. I was in Jagannath Puri during Kartik, and Radhanath Swami was there with, I think it was 11,000 devotees. So every night Maharaj would come and speak in the pandal. So I went down there, and then one night Maharaj didn't speak. Maybe he was tired or something, I'm not sure, but they had a presentation, all the different projects that the different Chaupati temple and the different temples are involved in. Things I didn't even know about. So many different things that you can donate to. If you want to support this, if you want to support that, if you want to support so many things. ISKCON, there's so much. So Grihastas, we should become rich. We should earn lots of money and then give it to Krishna. And then your mind will be on Krishna. That's Grihasta Dharma. That's what more or less this chapter will speak about. So we'll stop here. Are there any questions or any comments on what we spoke? Do we have a microphone? Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the nice class. You mentioned how the sannyasis are the topmost of all the ashrams. Prabhu, we see in Bhagavatam like Durvasa Muni and Amrish Maharaj. When Durvasa Muni, he was envious of King Amrish because he took a little bit of water. And Durvasa Muni was a sage, whereas Amrish Maharaj was a king with a lot of opulence. And still Amrish Maharaj was considered more advanced than Durvasa Muni. So how do we understand this?
How do we understand that sometimes the Grihasta is more advanced than the sannyasi? Because bhakti is not dependent on varnashram. Varnashram is external. Rupa Goswami points this out in the Nectar of Devotion. It's an external thing. So it doesn't mean that if someone's a sannyasi, he's more advanced than a Grihasta. Actually, Bhakti Tirtha Swami said, not long before he left, he said some of the Grihastas in our movement are more advanced than the sannyasis. So it doesn't mean that and if you look at the Panchatattva, they were Grihastas. Then Mahaprabhu took sannyas, Gadadhar took sannyas, but they were Grihastas. If you look at the 12 Mahajans, I think 7 out of the 12 are Grihastas. So it's like that. Many are Grihastas. Actually, Bhaktivedanta Thakur says, in Kali Yuga, Grihasta ashram is a good ashram for the devotees. If you can be a brahmachari or sannyasi in Kali Yuga, then we respect you. Because it's not easy. It's not easy. Just ask them. It's not easy. Right? Is that okay?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Any other question?
Sannyas is a measure of a renunciation, not necessarily a measure of learning.
Of?
Learning. And experience.
Yeah, and it's also a sadhana. Yeah, because when devotees are immature, they think sannyasi means a pure devotee. Many devotees think that in ISKCON. They think, sannyasi must be a pure devotee. No, it's a sadhana. It's a way to become a pure devotee. It's a practice. Like that. So we have to understand it like that, because sometimes the sannyasi will fall down, and then devotees, how could they fall down? Because they're practicing. And sometimes when you practice, you don't get it right. So it's like that.
On the point of charity, there are some who espouse that we should give to the brahmanas. Right? What do you think about that? Rather than give to ISKCON, we should give to brahmanas. Especially if the brahmanas are asking for donations, we should give what they ask for.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's an important point to discuss. It is Vedic culture to give to brahmanas. It is Vedic culture. It's culturally necessary to give to brahmanas. However, it's also not Brahminical activity or Brahminical culture or behavior to ask for the donation. And we see that happen sometimes. You know, people say, I'm a brahmana.
Give to me.
I mean, if we want to get technical right now...
We're all brahmanas.
Yeah. Oh, no, not all. So, yeah, probably many of the temple residents you would consider, the brahmacharis you would consider. You consider me, because, you know, I teach in the temple and so forth. You consider yourself, because you also behave like a brahmana. So, you know, but we never go around asking, you know, our congregation, oh, you know, I'm a brahmana, you need to give me charity. Like, we don't say like that, because if you're actually a brahmana, you are dependent on Krishna. That's Brahminical culture. So you don't need to do the pick, you know, through the congregation. You don't need to go through and say, oh, Prabhuji, oh, my watch broke. Oh, you don't need to do that. Actually, that watch that did broke, that I had for over 10 years, that was a gift from a devotee. You know, so he gave to me as a gift. It was a loving exchange. So he gave it, and it broke. You know, but then I didn't start walking around saying to all the devotees, oh, my watch broke. You know, does anyone maybe, you know, because you can do that. No, but I went and brought a watch. So it's a cultural necessity to give to brahmanas, because there are genuine brahmanas in our movement. You know, my Guru Maharaj is a brahmana. I used to give him donations. I give donations to senior devotees and to Brahminical devotees. That's nice. That's part of our culture. But they should not ask for it. It should not be expected. Oh, I did the yajna. Where is the dakshina? Yeah, when you start saying that, you're not a brahmana. Because a brahmana would not say that. And that's like when we go to Vrindavan and you go to some of the temples and the so-called brahmanas, as soon as you get there, they're all saying, you know, where's the donation? Where's the donation? You know, that's not Brahminical culture. You know, I took my brother to Govardhan recently and we were doing a parikram, and we went to one place and the pandas, they harassed us, and he gave quite a good donation. And I said, what are you doing? And he said, oh, they were asking. I said, doesn't mean you give it to them. Yeah, give them something. Give them 10 rupees or something to keep them happy. Well, that won't keep them happy, but, you know, give them something. But that's not Brahminical culture. And I said to him, can you imagine Radhanath Swami like running behind you? Oh, Prabhuji, Dan. Like, no genuine Brahmana would ever do that. So yeah, we should give to Brahmanas, that's our culture, but they need to be qualified and they should not ask. And Prabhupada actually said that about the beggars. He said when you go to Vrindavan, if the beggars do not approach you, you should give to them. Because they're begging, they're genuine. Like you go to Radhika when the Matajis sit peacefully, you should give to them. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said if you don't give to them, your heart will become hard. So you should give. But Prabhupada said if they chase you, you don't give to them. That means they're just like swindlers. They're just, you know, it's a money-making situation. That's not begging. Begging means you just sit quietly, and if someone gives, they give. Oh, so that's my opinion. Oh, I'm giving to Brahmanas.
Brahmanas in ISKCON will collect for ISKCON projects.
Yeah, or they will maintain themselves, because we all need a quota. You know, you need some money to maintain yourself, but then the excess, it says, because it says a Brahmana has 6 principles. One is he accepts charity and gives charity. So when there's excess, yeah, that's when you give to the projects. Yeah. You know, once you've got your necessities covered, then you give it to the excess.
And that's why we support our Brahmanas. So they're not forced to go around asking people for money, but they're supported. They can do their service.
Yeah.
And we can avoid that kind of hunger mentality. If you don't give those Brahmanas enough, if you don't give them, you know, more than 1,000 rupees, they'll harass you. It's such a hard to run.
Yeah, Radhanath Swami says when you're dealing with them, he said, just pretend they're a figment of your imagination. Because they do, they harass. So when you go there, I tell the devotees when we go on Parikram, when we go into a place, I say, oh, the Pandits here, they harass. So I said, just pretend they're in your mind. So everyone just goes there and they're all going, Dan, Dan, and we're all just going like, we just pretend they're not there. And they become frustrated and they walk away. Oh, that's it. Any other question or comment? Yeah. Welcome back.
Hare Krishna. How to handle when opulence arrives as like a byproduct of bhakti in the form of wealth, prestige, how to handle that opulence and not be bewildered by it.
Yeah, that's the test for all of us.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's the test for all of us. Because Satchidananda Swami was saying this a number of years ago at one of the retreats I was on. He said, when you make some advancement and you've been around a certain period of time, you've made some advancement in Krishna consciousness, people will offer you respect. They'll bow down to you. They will give you gifts, they'll give you charity. All these things will happen. So then the test is, how is it going to affect your consciousness? So then you have to remember your guru and his example, right? And if you're actually in that mood that I am his servant, right, then whatever is being offered to you is being offered to him actually. So then you pass that on. So same with Prabhupada. Prabhupada often said, I'm passing this to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, because that was his bhava, his mentality. So it's a test for all of us, because it comes, and because we're still attached, we still have false egos, we think, oh, that feels nice. They bow to me now. They give me things now. Everyone's like this now, right? And it's there, it happens. You just stick around and you practice sincerely for a period of time. It's going to happen. But then you see, do you pass that on? Do you give it to your guru? And do you give it? We only made it this far because of a good deal of assistance that we got up until now. So that's So if we start keeping it. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, then you are stena. Stena means you're a thief. Because what was given to you, which is actually, you're just passing on, you're just the postman, you're just the person who passes the mail on, and you're keeping that for yourself, then you're a stena, you're a thief. If you work for the post office and you're keeping the packages, you lose your job. And that's what will happen in bhakti. When Krishna says you're starting to keep too many of the packages, he'll say, okay, maybe time for a change. And he'll make an arrangement. And he'll pull the carpet. Have you ever had the carpet pulled? Yeah, happened a few times, right? like that. So he'll do it. He's always sitting there. And then when he does it, he just goes, I fixed you. like that. So yeah, it's something we all have to practice. Yeah. Any other question? Yeah. No, Annie Rudapur. Oh, battery's gone.
It's interesting, when he came to Melbourne and was being interviewed at the airport, and was asking, why they're down there, Prabhupada said, I'm like a tax collector. I collect obeisances, but they're not for me, they're for Krishna. So he set the example. Whatever was given to him, he accepted it on behalf of Krishna. And used it in Krishna's service. So keep that moving. We can keep a portion for ourselves, or there's an appropriate amount of care. Or there's an appropriate amount of gift, if you like, used for your own purposes. Because that's just common sense.
You have to survive.
So there's
Yeah, if you're an actual brahmana, if you're an actual brahmana, you keep something, and then if there's excess, you give in charity. That's all. Any other question? Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki.
Take it easy.